Good morning. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. Today we're here to kick off what we are calling a listening tour in Western Wayne County. We have representatives here from the NAACP, the Conference of Western Wayne County, and the Western Wayne Chief of Police to discuss the goals and the details of this upcoming event. While this is not a listening tour today, we will have time at the end for questions, and then we'll be available afterwards for anybody who might have any additional questions one-on-one. My name is Karen Conley, and I am the mayor of the city of Belleville, and I'm here representing the Conference of Western Wayne County. We are an organization of 18 communities in southeastern Michigan that come together. For decades we've come together to collaborate on regional issues. These mayors, supervisors, and chiefs of police from these 18 communities are here because they care. Because not one of them thought that what happened to George Floyd was right or justified. We know people are angry. We know that old wounds have been opened. And we know that men, women, and children of all ages and all walks of life are rallying, they're protesting, and they're desperate for us to listen. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Systemic racism doesn't stop at any one of our borders. It's across our country. We have to put our fears aside, whatever they might be, and we have to open the dialogue between our communities, our elected officials, and our public safety. We're going to answer hard questions. We're going to be faced with harsh realities. But the one thing that this group of people know is that we can accomplish so much more when we're working together, and that's what we expect to do. We have an opportunity to open doors, to truly listen, to work across generations, and to affect change. Today, we're going to talk about what those listening tours look like. We're going to be in different communities, and we're going to encourage people to speak to us. And we're going to be here to listen and to help find solutions. I would like to turn it over to the Westland Police Chief, Chief Jedrusik. Did I get that right? Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, thank you everybody for coming. I want to start by just saying, obviously our country's been dramatically affected by the incident that occurred in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which resulted in the death of George Floyd. There's a lot of emotion, there's hurt, there's anger, and there's distrust by members of the community towards law enforcement. But know this, there's also hurt, anger, and disgust by law enforcement officers towards those individual officers involved in the Minnesota incident. As a result, many communities in Western Wayne County have been the center of rallies, marches, and protests. Our protests have been impactful while still peaceful. Each city or township has been addressing these issues on an individual basis. As individuals, we have spoken with the organized groups and the media outlets in our individual towns. Clearly, these concerns don't stop at any one city's border, and they impact all of the cities and all of the residents in our entire area. The Western Wayne County Police Chiefs, along with the mayors, the city managers, and the Conference of Western Wayne, feel that it's time to address these issues collectively. We've spoken to members of our community. There have been pretty consistent messages delivered to us. The first is that the community wants their concerns to be heard directly by the police chiefs, the mayors, and the city managers. The second was that the community wants a consistent and regular opportunity to be heard, to discuss their concerns, and to be given answers to their questions. This group here today stands here collectively to say that we hear your message. As your community leaders, we feel the same way. We are committed to open communication and partnership with our communities, but not just our individual communities, the communities of Western Wayne County. When bad things happen, people must learn from them. We must develop ways to fix concerns and fix problems. That is what we're here to do. We're creating an opportunity for change and improvement to the way we improve our communication and our community partnership. Again, not just in our individual communities, but in all the communities of the Conference of Western Wayne. Along with our partners from the Western Wayne NAACP, we've developed a regular and consistent means for our communities to speak directly to your leaders, your chiefs, your mayors, and your city managers. We're going to call this the listening tour, and in a few minutes, Mayor BURCROFF is going to step up here and speak in detail about that. But now briefly, I wanted to speak for the Westland and Wayne County police chiefs here. I hope, and these chiefs hope, that through these meetings, we learn from each other. We as police chiefs hope that through dialogue, we are able to gain additional perspective from our community. We also hope that these meetings will grow community trust. This will also provide better opportunity for the community to not only see, but hear how many of our police organizations already have systems in place that are being requested. Many of us are in line with most, if not all, of the requests regarding officer training, department policies, and officer early warning systems. We are also in line with your personal feelings. The disgust that you felt watching the George Floyd video, we felt that same disgust when we saw it. It was despicable. The way you feel when you see a video of an unprofessional police officer, we feel that same way. That's an embarrassment to our profession. And believe me when I say that there's nobody that dislikes a bad police officer more than the good ones. They tarnish our reputation and they ruin our community's trust. As we begin to move forward with a new Communities of Western Wayne County Police Community Partnership, we must all still keep something in mind. As time goes on, mistakes are going to happen. Police officers are human and they perform a very difficult job. As police chiefs, we will tolerate mistakes if they are honest mistakes that a person can correct, learn from, and improve. We will tolerate incorrect decisions if they are correctable and provide a learning opportunity. But what we will not tolerate is unethical or immoral behavior. We will not tolerate racism, we will not tolerate bias-based policing, and we will not tolerate excessive force. Those are not mistakes. Those are bad people that should not be police officers. What occurred in Minnesota was not a mistake. It was not an incorrect decision. It was just simply bad. Every single police chief up here, along with every police officer in our respective department, feels the same way. Those individuals do not represent us as a profession. Sometimes bad people infiltrate their way into our profession. The same thing occurs in every other profession in our nation. But as police chiefs, as the county sheriff, it's our job to get rid of these people, and we do, and we will continue to do so. Lastly, I want to say that we see this as an opportunity for both the Western Wayne County police chiefs and the community to learn from each other through dialogue. Moving forward, the listening tour will give us the excellent opportunity to create the model of community partnership that hopefully the rest of the nation will follow as we move forward. So now I'd like to welcome up Mayor BURCROFF so he can talk more about the programming. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor Weil, for hosting us here today. Mayor Conley kind of talked a little bit about the Conference of Western Wayne. And when I was talking to somebody about what the Conference of Western Wayne means, it's a pretty unique organization because you've got these 18 communities that represent over 700,000 residents, and we put all differences aside. We're here for what we often talk about as the greater good. So we come together as a region, and I can't think of one topic like this one, which is the greater good, is why we're here today. Everybody's been up in arms about this. This tour is called a listening tour. So with the Western Wayne Chiefs, the Board of Conference of Western Wayne, and with the Western Wayne NAACP, one of the things that you hear about listening, but it's listening and it's also being heard, and I think they're two different things. We listen to music, right? But being heard is understanding the words and the meaning and what needs to happen. So what I'm excited about is the fact that we're going to be rolling out starting next week. So with the city of Livonia taking the lead, thank you Livonia for doing that. On the 24th, we're going to kick off the first listening tour so that we can take questions ahead of time from the public. They can tell their story that they want to have heard ahead of time. And the way it's going to work is this. We're going to be at the Clarenceville High School on the 24th at 6 o'clock. Again, this is led by the police department, but we're asking all the Western Wayne mayors and supervisors, I know we're all busy, to either try to be there or it's going to be live streamed. That'll be in the media release that comes out later. But what's really important is at this time we're living in, we're going to have a meeting. We need to stay within the governor's order. So we need to stay within that 100-person rule. We're going to have to be distanced. There will be PPE available for people that need that. If we get beyond the number, obviously we're going to have live stream available so people can tell their story, they can be heard. And so what I'm really hoping for, and I know in talking to a lot of the mayors and supervisors, is that we're going to have some meaningful opportunities to both hear from the police departments. I think you heard from a chief that put it pretty clearly what's not acceptable. There are a lot of training and practices that are in place. Each of these 18 communities, they're a little unique. So discussion may come up at one of those that may create an opportunity for things to be considered for even changes in the future. But I think that's the beauty of having people tell their story, be heard, and have dialogue from the people that want to have that happen. So we're going to ask you to register on the Conference of Western Wayne website. You can search it, or it's www.c-w-w.org. Go on that, pre-register, make sure that you're there and available, or if you want to catch the live stream. And what I'm excited about is pulling in Gina Stewart's here, and she's the executive director from the Western Wayne NAACP. And Gina had made some comments, even talking to some of our chiefs. And what I love her strategy is that, hey, we're here to get meaningful change and opportunities to be heard. You know, it's okay to do a protest and to have a voice being broadcast, but what's really more important is to get things done. You've got the commitment from this group behind me here, from all 18 communities, from their police departments, to do just that, to hear people out, to be heard, to understand, and to get things done. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also really excited to welcome up Gina Stewart, who is the executive director from the Western Wayne NAACP, and I'm excited to have Romulus be one of these host communities very shortly. Thank you very much. Gina?
Thank you, Mayor BURCROFF. So, if not now, when? If not who? Me. That's a quote that Malcolm X uses often, and I kind of liked it for today. So good morning, I am Gina Wilson Stewart, and I'm the president of the wonderful Western Wayne County NAACP. As she said, our branch covers 24 cities, and that really keeps us busy, but I thank God for our leadership. I'm here today with our first vice president, Pastor Gene Overman, our second vice president, John Hearn, and some of our members that put up with us as we try to make things better for all the people in our region. The times that we're living in are different, but yet they're still the same. African Americans say that this is nothing new. Ask any black mom and they will tell you a story about an encounter her son had with the police. That's the same. The difference is that people throughout the world now witness the encounters. This time is right to change the way people of color are treated. The phrase Black Lives Matter is relevant and appropriate. I'm sure that you will agree with me that everyone is not treated equally when they encounter some police officers. With the help of community members armed with cell phones and police officers armed with body cameras, the true story is being told. Unfortunately, the killing of African Americans by police isn't anything new, but the viewing of the killing of George Floyd was the straw that broke the camel's back. Thankfully, in our region, there hasn't been many killings, but one killing is too many. With the new administration of the Western Wayne County NAACP, we said we had to do a paradigm shift. That means we have to do things differently if we wanted different results. So our goal is to always be proactive and build strategic partnerships with people and organizations throughout our 24 cities. Our goal is to build relationships and policies to make life better for everyone by eliminating racial disparities for everyone. If my memory serves me right, about 6 years ago, we were here. under the leadership of our former president, Bishop Walter Stargill, we gathered all the mayors and the supervisors and the police chiefs for a conversation in this building. And we started the conversation. The problem is we didn't continue the conversation. We promise this time we're going to do better. We're going to do better. So I have a little commercial. Well, we know the elections are coming up, and we want everybody to vote in August. And if you do that, we continue to focus on this criminal justice problem, and we won't have to focus on election stuff. So do me a favor and make sure everyone votes in August so we can stay on our same path. Agreed? All right, that was the end of my commercial. We always have to talk about voting. We're the NAACP, right? Right. And the census, as Pastor Overman is saying, keeping me on track. So last Monday, we had our first conversation with police chiefs. It was awesome. We had 7 police chiefs and 1 state police commander on the call, and it was through Zoom. But as you know, communication has to be inclusive. So we also had community members from several ministerial alliances, leadership from the Hispanic and the Arab community, and criminal justice educators from University of Michigan Dearborn. You know, you always need to have a teacher in the room. This type of inclusive partnership is key if we want to implement changes that address systemic racism. So we're excited about this new partnership with the Conference of Western Wayne. And I thank all of you for making a commitment to listen and address these racial disparities in our region. So the ultimate goal is a region where all people are treated with respect and have ability to a life where they have freedom and justice. So can you picture what that would look like? So for our millennials out there, I made some screenshots, but you gotta use your brain and your eyes and think about it as I say what I'm saying so you can see the picture. All right, see, it's about 5 of them. So the first screenshot is, you know when you go to the courtroom, even though you're not in a majority city, but the majority of the people in the courtroom are African Americans or people of color, what we're gonna strive for is to change that picture. So can you see that? So that's one thing we're gonna be working towards. We're also gonna be working towards the police force, the state police, the sheriff's departments, the judges, and employees and city government being more diverse. Can you see that? That's another one. This is a good one. We're going to have young black people have a positive relationship with police officers so they could dream of serving their community as an officer one day. That is so very key because if you look at the diversity of the police force, it's not diverse. It's not diverse. I know a lot of departments are trying. I know they're trying different aspects. We've been working with them, but we need kids to want to be police officers, and that'll make the job much easier for all of us. So we want to make sure that the talk that black and brown parents have with their kids is no longer needed. We have to do something different with our kids than other people do. That talk is very, very important for our kids' survival, but we shouldn't have to do that. So we want to make sure that that is done away with. And we want to make sure our grandkids, 40 years from now, will not be fighting for the same civil rights that our grandparents fought for. Can you picture that? Those are the things that we got to actually work towards. And I got one that I just got to tell you about. Well, when there's a stop because your rear tail light or your license plate light is out and you get a $175 ticket, why didn't they say, hey, young lady, your rear license plate is light is out. You need to get that fixed. So I know that happened to me. And I was like, how am I supposed to know that the rear license plate light is out? And then you're going to give me a ticket for $175. Anyway, we need to work on that. That's a picture that I personally want to fix. Personally want to fix. So I digress, but I had to bring that up. Yeah, because, you know, it happens. I published it, and somebody said, I'm glad you told that story because that happened to me. So it's happening to more than just me, just so you know. All right, so the last screenshot. This is the cultural change we need to have. Where the city governments, the police departments, and the courts realize it's not about money. It's about eliminating systemic racism and treating everyone equal. It should not be about money for those departments. It should be about equality, treating everyone the same. So I know that sounds like a hard task, but we're willing. Everyone's willing to take on these issues. And I know it can be done. This is a great start. But we must hear from the community and the police officers. But don't just complain to your friends and your family. Participate in the conversations so that your issue will be addressed. We all are here to listen, and that includes everyone. If you're here today and you are viewing online, we want to hear from you. But as best way I can say this, if you don't participate, don't complain. Say it again. If you don't participate, don't complain. Because you'll come to us later and want us to resolve a problem that you didn't participate in and trying to fix it. So I'm just going to say it again. If you don't participate, don't complain. Watch it online, do what you need to do, get to the conversations, but we have to make sure you're involved. Now, once the listening tour leaves your city, we must have some type of diversity, inclusion committee, or some community review board, or something to keep the conversation going. We don't want it to revert to business as usual. So we just need everyone to get involved. I think what Chief told us at the march we had yesterday, that maybe we can be the model for the state because all of us are going to work together. We know it's not going to be easy and it's not going to happen overnight. But this partnership with community, police departments, elected officials is the best way to get this done. The time is now. We have to own it. And I'm going to end where I started. If not now, then when? If not me, then who? You guys agree? If not now, then when? If not me, then who? Thank you for listening. I bring up Mayor Weil from Westland.
Well, thank you, Gina, and thank you, everybody, for being here today. The City of Westland was very excited to be able to host the kickoff of this important initiative, and I was thinking about what Mrs. Steward said. About 6 years ago, we did meet in this building when we first opened up the City Hall, and we met with the mayors, the supervisors, and the police chiefs, and it was on the heels of the tragedies of Douglas and Baltimore, and we made a pledge that we were going to work together to make sure that those same tragedies never happen in our city. But as Ms. Stewart said, I think what happens sometimes is at the time the national attention was on that, and then at the national level the attention changes pretty quick. So I think what we have to do today, and I think what we're committed to do today, is to refocus. And even if the national attention does turn, we're not going to let that attention turn here in Western Wayne County. And I do think that this program that we talked about today, as Gina mentioned, and also our police chief, Jeff Jedrusik, said recently, is that we have the ability to be a model for the state. And I think that you have the commitment of certainly all of us here in Westland, but behind me is all the leadership of Western Wayne County, mayors, supervisors, elected officials, police chiefs. So we're fully committed, and I look forward to participating 100% in this listening tour. And then as Gina said, it's important that as a listening tour passes through your city that some tangible results continue when the tour moves on. So before I turn it back over to Mayor Connolly to open up questions from the media, I just want to thank our staff at the Conference of Western Wayne, our Executive Director, Jordan Selleck, and her talented team for pulling together this event here today. Jordan, I'm looking out there and I'm just hoping that I turned off the sprinkler system this morning when I got here. If not, this thing's going to be over real quick. But once again, thank you for putting this together. We appreciate your leadership. And with that, I'm going to ask Mayor Conley to step forward, and we're going to have a question and answering period with the media. And then after the media has a chance to answer questions, we'll conclude here today, and then the elected officials and the police chiefs will be around to answer questions from the public as well. Mayor Connolly?
Thank you. Is there anybody in the media that has a question that they would like to ask? We aren't going to pass around a microphone, so I will repeat the question, and then the appropriate person will come up and certainly answer that. If you could just ask your question, and I'll repeat it for everybody.
My question to Chief, I'm in Westland resident, and we have a very good cooperation from the department whenever we talk. But his statement was one of, what he said, the decision was taken for Floyd was a bad decision, was not incorrect, something like that. So why is not incorrect decision?
No, I don't think that's what he said. I'm gonna
something on that
let him clarify that, Steve.
No, I guess what I tried to say is that we have to understand that police work's a dangerous job, and there's going to be mistakes. And as police chiefs, we will accept mistakes as long as they're correctable and there's something we can learn from. The same thing with incorrect decisions. Sometimes officers are going to make an incorrect decision. If they can learn from that decision and we can improve that officer, absolutely want to do that. But what happened in Minnesota was not a mistake. It was not a bad decision. It was just simply bad. It was not what we trained, and it was not what law enforcement officers trained for, and that was just not a bad decision and something that should be overlooked.
The question over here.
Hi, Vicky Thomas from WWJ Radio. How many of these tours will you be doing, and how will you determine who will be allowed to attend to keep it under that 100?
So there is a registration process for the first one, which is starting in Livonia. Our intent is that we will hit all 18 communities. There may be some that will combine together, and the first one obviously is set in Livonia under the restrictions of the governor right now. It is limited to 100. We will be social distancing in that venue to make sure that we have complied with all of the requirements. If that gets larger, we certainly will be able to open up to a larger group, but there is registration online, and that's why we've asked for people to register so that we can keep everybody in compliance with the...
First come, first served?
Correct. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, the question there is how many tours will there be, and will we limit them to 100? So that question is, right now it's limited to 100 because that's all we're allowed to do. And how will people be able to attend? It's on a first come, first serve basis, and there will be a registration requirement. This question really was the first question was to clarify what a statement that the chief had made previously that may have been misunderstood. Yes.
Hello, my name is Don Shelby, and my question is in reference to the tours. Will they be posted and scheduled online so that we would know when they're coming to our city?
Yes, we will. The Conference of Western Wayne website will have the list of the tours, so you'll know when they are scheduled. And then you'll be able, so I think that's in the press release today, so certainly pay attention to that. You can online register right now for the one for Livonia. We made that went live this morning, so people can start registering there. And then we'll announce the next ones as they become solidified, and a lot of them are just trying to figure out where the venue is and how many people we can have, and how does that make, how do we optimize the most people in those communities.
And will the attendees be limited to the people of that community, or will outsiders be able to come in as well?
Now they're open.
Is open to everybody, and as we said, we will all try to be at each of them. The rest of us here will be visiting those venues as well. As we said, it's not something that is isolated in any individual community. We all gain to learn something in hearing from other communities as well. So it will be open to anybody who is interested in participating.
My only concern would be the people of that community, those are the ones that you really need to hear from. And if it's filled with outsiders, then the real people that are being affected by whatever's happening in their community, you might not get a chance to hear their heart.
We certainly will take that into consideration. It's a good point. We understand that. Is there another question? Yes.
I know you can't, you don't have a crystal ball or anything, but what do you hope to glean from these meetings? And will the information that you get from residents be used to implement any kind of changes? And what are you trying to get at, basically, with this question?
I think Gina had talked to that pretty specifically. The question was, what do we hope to get from these tours, and what do we hope to glean from them, and are we just going to listen? Our first priority is to listen, to make sure people are heard. We know there's a problem. Nobody up here has the crystal ball, and I don't think each of us have the answer as to what is the exact solution, because I think it's deep. And there are a lot of things that need to take place in order to change, to get to the place that was described so beautifully, right? Where everybody is equal. There's a lot of things that we anticipate that will come out of those meetings. I think, as Mayor Wild also said, it's not going to stop. We may have started an initiative, and our hope really is that we will continue. What I probably envision is that there will be a common theme among some of these listening tours. And then do we pull the right resources together, and do we create smaller groups of individuals, because it's great to have a lot of input, but sometimes working in a really big group, it's hard to get a lot of things done. We want to be inclusive, but we also want to get something done. And so we'll take the people that are passionate, we'll take the issues that surface, and we'll work towards finding solutions and how we can make and affect that change. So I hope that answers your questions, at least the start of it. Any other questions? There is somebody in the audience. Oh, right here.
Jackie Martin from the News Herald newspapers. For people who can't make it, and maybe even to the gentleman's point here, even if it's media or residents or what have you, is there a recording, or is there a way to make this available online so people who can't be here can still listen to the
Yes, it's going to be live streamed, so people will have the opportunity to see what's going on. And the thing that, while we would like it to limit, we would like people in each community participating, it may not work for your schedule to be in that community, but you might be able to join another community. Your input is just as valuable. And so we're hoping that people will be able to see it on live stream if they can't attend, that they'll be able to attend a different one of the listening tours if they aren't able to make that one specifically. And there is somebody in the audience too that I did not introduce that is going to be integral for this happening, and that's Deja Price. She is a facilitator that we'll be using. I don't know if she's like to stand. She'll be helping us throughout this process, so we are excited to have her. I know I didn't want to skip over the fact that she's here today, and she certainly will help us through this process as well. So as we listen, as we hear, as we start to make decisions and start to solve problems, she'll be with us along the way. So thank you very much for being here too and willing to help us. Are there any other questions? Okay, we'll take this last one, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll be available for individual questions should there be any.
I would like to know from my leaders how many has admitted that Western Wayne County is a racist county. Any of the leaders can answer.
The question is how many people or how many leaders have acknowledged that Wayne County is racist? Is that what you're trying? Oh, Western Wayne County is racist.
Councilwoman Tasha Green with the City of Westland. I will state that there is a racism issue within multiple cities in our community, and many of us are aware of that, and that is one of the reasons why we're seeing protests and demands being made throughout the world. So there is no city in Michigan or the United States that is free of racism, including Western Wayne County.
All All right, we would like to thank everybody for being here today, and we look forward to seeing people on our listening tour. Again, the first one will start in Livonia on the 24th at 6 p.m. The live stream and the information can be found on the CWW website. Thank you very much, and thanks to everybody who participated today and is here. It's great to see everybody. Thank you.